Is Matt Shaw the future? We talk about that next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being a part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below, as we are now inside 100 subscribers to 11,000. Today's episode is presented by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right state can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today as well. Cubs did roll past the Phillies. We're going to get to that later. Jed Hoyer also responded to Craig Counsell, and we're going to talk about that later as well. But first, we're going to get into Matt Shaw as the minor league season is over, and it's time to declare, I think, who Matt Shaw is, and that is the top prospect in the Cubs system, and maybe the top guy by a lot. Shaw recorded one of the 10 best seasons in all the minor leagues this year, and for his efforts was named Baseball America Minor League Player of the Year for the Cubs and was named AA Southern League MVP. Shaw finished with a combined slash line between AAA and AA, 284, 379, 488, 21 home runs, 19 doubles, 71 runs batted in, and 31 stolen bases. Sam, initially, we're going to get into prospect talk, positional talk, 2025, where are the spots on the field. But initially, I would just love to know what you think of Shaw now, given his numbers, given his first full year in the pros. Just what do you think? Because I know you thought highly of him already.
The exact same thing. That's what I think.
Has it even increased a little?
No, I
Okay.
thought that this kid.
But you thought highly of him already.
I thought that this kid was the top prospect going into the campaign.
Okay.
We have that on videotape.
VHS tape.
I was a huge fan of him, his swing, his approach, his demeanor, everything about him, and all that has been supported this year. He is the only guy, with all due respect to Cade Horton, with all due respect to Owen Casey, James Triantos, Kevin Alcantara, Cam Smith. He's the only guy right now in this organization I consider a legit blue chip prospect. What I mean by that is can't miss, not tradable, blue chipper. Would not be surprised if he was a Rookie of the Year candidate next season. That type of player. He's legit. Opposite field power. Could steal bases. His defense is getting better. Takes his walks. Doesn't whiff a ton. Got off to a really, really slow start at AA, which is a tough hitting environment. And basically, from the middle of May on, was a 1,000, pretty close to a 1,000 OPS guy all across the area, AA and AAA. And I just have to just say, no shock here.
Absolutely. You were a leader in the clubhouse there. That's a golf analogy, by the way, for the people at home.
I haven't watched a golf matchup or a tournament, and I mean this. No. I really do mean this, since Jimmy Carter was in the office of presidency.
Well, you weren't born yet. So, listen, of any prospect, it's easy to see why Shaw could have the most impact with the Cubs next year. And depending on what happens in the next 3 to 4 months, this dude, I believe, could start in Japan on March 18th.
Agree.
We're going to learn whether or not Jed Hoyer, number one, has a desire to get creative, or number two, if he's even able to, because if there might not be another team willing to play ball. But the fact is the Cubs don't have any spots open if Cody Bellinger opts in.
Right.
If he opts out, the spot is in right field. So, or DH, depending on what they do with Seiya, who has basically determined for everybody that he is a DH, and the numbers prove it. So, while we all know they need to add catching, and we have this Bellinger opt-in or opt-out, which I don't really think is that detrimental either way, and you went more into length on that last week. But the only 3 spots, as I see it, where there's at least like non-fantasy baseball thoughts to make changes is first, second, and third.
Yeah.
And even then, there are things with Michael Busch, there are things with Nico Horner that warrant keeping. Isaac Paredes has struggled a lot, but they traded 2 players for him only 2 months ago. So you can't or don't really see him going anywhere. But the fact is, if the Cubs want to add Shaw, much less a free agent or a trade, they have to trade someone. And I don't want Hoyer making a trade just to make one, but they have to create this path to 90 wins. Shout out to Craig Counsell, and bringing back all of the 9 players who got the most playing time doesn't seem like the way to do it. They can't do that. They can't just say, oh, here's the 9 guys who got the most plate appearances. Wouldn't that be egregious?
Get on the phone. You want to add a starting pitcher. A lot of buzz about the Cubs adding a starting pitcher in the last 40 hours.
And they likely will.
Call Seattle. Say, hey, you need offense. We want a pitcher. We want to clear some offense to bring up this blue chip stud, Matt Shaw.
Seattle or Miami, I would say.
What do you think about Nico Horner? Maybe even throw in an Isaac Paredes. Maybe you trade both of them.
Wow.
With a prospect and you bring over George Kirby, somebody like that. And then Matt Shaw can come up, and then you got a little flexibility to go add another guy. Maybe Busch moves to second. You go sign the polar bear. I don't know.
Right.
There's something you could do. But none of these guys, I'm a little bit tired of hearing about how, well, you can't trade this guy because of this, and you can't trade this guy. If all of them were untradeable, they'd win more than 81 ball games.
Right. They'd have 100 wins.
Yeah. So I get it. Whenever, all these guys are kind of nice players. So you're going to risk anything. If you trade Paredes, you're risking, well, you know what? Maybe he just had a really bad, last 3 months of the season. He gets off to a good start. If you trade Horner, you're risking the fact that maybe he is a 290 hitter and he has that amazing defense up the middle. If you trade Busch, maybe Busch is a really, really good player, but you're going to have to trade somebody. You're going to have to move somebody because this young man over at Iowa, he ain't going to wait long.
No.
He ain't going to wait long. That's a stud right there. And there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, how are the Cubs going to go get that guy? The easy thing to do is to just say, hey, get Juan Soto. It solves all outside of the bullpen. It pretty much solves every problem. They could sign Steve Traxel in the offseason. It wouldn't matter if they got Juan Soto. Okay, they'd still be the favorites to win this division, but we know they're not going to do that. So the next guy in line, the guy that might push him over the hump, the guy that might be that stud, might very well be this young man in Triple-A. So we'll have to see. But I think the kid's a stud.
Well, and can you take a page out of the Diamondbacks and Padres books and actually play a dude from day one? Corbin Carroll and Jackson Merrill would like to have a word. I mean, why do you have to wait till April 20th?
And Will Ferrell, I don't know, just the rhyming.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Of course I know what you're saying, but this team will do anything they can to save $15.
Well, that's really too bad. Yeah, did you reflect at all on Tuesday that the Cubs actually went over a penaltied luxury tax by $900,000?
I'm trying to keep.
I think I broke the news. I haven't seen that anywhere.
I'm trying to keep it positive. So no, I didn't reflect.
Okay.
I did more just kind of thinking about a certain thing that we're going to be doing Saturday potentially, and getting excited for that. So.
This season on defense, Shaw played 24 games at second and 64 at third. 8 errors at third, 1 at second. And yes, I get Horner is elite defensively, but Shaw at second would be pretty good too, I feel.
Yeah, and I think Horner, as elite as he has been defensively, his arm is leaving questions. I don't think the Cubs have been great at the double play ball with him turning it. So, there is room for growth there.
All right, well, I'm excited to see Shaw take this rise. I could get excited about a lineup that has Shaw at third, Bush at second, Alonso at first. Hap, PCA, Bellinger left to right, Seiya DHing, Amaya / Carson Kelly or Danny Jansen catching.
Yeah, it's like a little George Kirby mixed in as a starter.
And you need a starter.
Yeah, and you sure up the bullpen, you win 94 baseball game.
And Dansby's buddies with Max Fried, but I got to say, I'd rather have a righty.
Yeah.
A Logan Gilbert, a George Kirby.
Woo.
Except I think he would probably cost the most. But
would Woo cost the most?
Yeah, he's under, I believe, contract through 29 or 30.
Yeah, he's only 24.
And he has the lowest ERA, I think.
Yeah, they got some great pitchers over there, man.
Great pitchers. They still got a chance this week, but they need help. So, all right, coming up next, Sam, tell me this, and be honest with me.
Yeah.
Did you know Jed Hoyer spoke Monday until I texted you?
I had no idea.
That's embarrassing. Not for you.
No, it's embarrassing.
Cubs media.
No, it's embarrassing for me too. Why don't you just come out and say it?
No,
I've been slacking a little bit.
For Cubs media.
I came back from vacation.
No, that's not what I meant at all. That's not what I meant.
I had two missed guesses on Billy Williams.
That's not what I meant.
Why didn't I guess Ernie Banks?
No, but you're taking that the wrong way.
I got a whistle here.
The point is, it was underreported. You know why? Because people want to bury it.
Well, we're not going to do that.
Okay, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not scared of anybody in this content ecosystem. Okay.
Well, I'm scared of when Wisniewski hangs a slider.
We talk about everything here. We're going to talk about Hoyer responding to his manager that he stole from his rival team next. Today's episode is brought to you by Booking.com.
Yeah.
With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city during the postseason. Maybe it's time to taste test your baseball competition stadium cuisine. Luckily, on Booking.com, you can find the stadium that's just right for you. With Booking.com's wide variety of choices across the U.S., you can go incognito to all your baseball rival cities. Maybe it's LA or Philly or New York or Baltimore or Cleveland or San Diego or Milwaukee. No matter what team you are rooting for this postseason, Booking.com can make you a fan of any city around the country. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Check it out at Booking.com, Booking.yeah.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you could start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Of course, it's America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you could check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Folks, the Bears are 2.5-point favorites this Sunday on the lakefront against the banged-up Rams. Take that as you will. I think I like the Bears and the points. The Bears need to win 3 straight home games here against the Rams, Panthers, and Jags before the schedule gets tough. And I don't know. I like the Bears and the points on paper, but I'm not sure I could, bet my hard-earned money on that offensive line and that offensive coordinator. Whoops, it's 3rd and 1. We're going to run the ball backwards for a loss of 6. You'll get started with
loss of 12.
You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed, by the way, when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com, America's #1 sports book.
Cubs play the Phillies at 5:05 p.m. Central Wednesday. Last night game of the season. Wow. And you can hear every pitch of the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM by searching Cubs on the SXM app. And we're not going to be covering that game. Just want to announce that now. We will not be covering Wednesday's game. We're instead going to be talking about Sam Sosa, I believe, was Sammy Sosa, excuse me. And you'll find out more in our Wednesday for Thursday episode. Very exciting stuff. All right, Jed Hoyer did speak to a small group of reporters on Monday, and then apparently there was an embargo on what he said because I didn't hear about it until I guess it was about midday on Tuesday. And here's what he said, quote, "When I saw Craig's comments, listen, the standings don't lie. You are what you are. There's a big gap in the standings," close quote. Well, Sam, the Cubs entered Monday
That's all
9
he
games
said?
back in their division. No, there's more.
Oh,
They got eliminated Saturday with a full week of games to go. Counsell made this pronouncement actually now more than once about the path to 90 wins. He did it again. I think it was after Monday's game or before Tuesday's with Taylor McGregor.
yeah, before Tuesday.
So he's doubling down on this. And I'll give you one more Hoyer quote before some reaction. Quote, "All of us, from me on down, we have to look at what we need to do this offseason and going forward to get to that place consistently. It's not about doing it once. It's about getting to a place where we feel like we can do it consistently." When we talk about the gap, we've come a long way, and I feel really good about the position we're in, but there's still a gap. That last stretch, that's what we have to make up. I feel like we've come a long way, but we have a lot of room to get to those 90-win teams that we need to have. Last year, the wild card was fairly low. This year, it looks like it's going to be in the 90s. The goal has to be, how do we get in that range? Close quote. And twice he referenced his tenure, which it's true. There was a 3-win jump from 21 to 22 and then 9 from 22 to 23. But again, this isn't rocket science. After the 9-win jump from 22 to 23, then you hired Counsell, and you might have the same amount of wins this year.
I take nothing from those comments. I think that those now it makes sense why they weren't reported.
Okay.
I think that I think that his comments you'll hear a lot from Jed Hoyer on Monday.
Okay.
Or Tuesday, whenever they do that.
Well, it should be Monday.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have to wait till Tuesday, player.
Yeah, you're
Don't
right.
need to wait.
Yeah, no, that's kind of like saying,
get a PSL at Starbucks and do the presser, man.
Yeah, that's like saying a lot of nothing. That's like me saying, hey, how was your day today? Well, I woke up and then I went to the gym and then I went to work and then I came back. You didn't answer how the day was. You just told me what you did. How'd it go is the question.
Right.
So
you don't generate any
nothing.
Animosity between these dudes or anything like that.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I just don't generate anything from those comments.
There's just not much going on.
No, and it's gloomy outside.
Yeah, it really was.
It felt like kind of like this would be a good weather day for Halloween.
Well, last year it snowed on Halloween.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Florida.
I just remember November 6th when we hired Craig was a big day. Right.
Then that provided us a spike until Shota Imanaga signed 2 months later.
Hey, can I make a comment before we move on?
Actually, yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the offseason.
Already looking in, by the way, to when pitchers and catchers report. Remember, the Cubs are going to be one of the first teams reporting.
Right.
That's going to be, I believe, Monday, February 10th. Go ahead.
I just want to say this. Last offseason, I don't think we got a lot of flack, but we definitely got some along the lines of, hey, enough of the Ohtani stuff. I just want to say this. Every single episode was worth it for that guy. Okay?
Right.
Everything that we talked about and hoped, because there was a chance for about 2 to 3 weeks where I legitimately thought there was a 50-50 chance they'd get him. Now, I was wrong. But even if there was a 5% chance, that guy's worth every show, okay?
Right.
I mean, the season that he's having, if that was at Wrigley Field, there'd be a statue on Clark, there'd be a statue on Addison, and then there'd be a statue down Kenmore Ave.
Well, we would be think about the tone of this show.
Oh my gosh! I mean, he is ridiculous.
Well, it would have been life. It would have been life-changing.
Life-changing. So I just want to say, on behalf of our program, I'm glad that we spent as much time as we did, because if we got that guy, we'd be planning for a postseason, and he'd be hitting balls right near where my car's parked over here in the Northwest Burbs.
All right, hold on, I misplaced it. Okay. So coming up next, the Cubs did play a baseball game
and
Tuesday.
Breaking news out of that game.
And they won the game. I'm guessing that's injury news?
Yes.
Coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by our great partner at Game Time. Whether it's a Cubs game, a comedy show, or a concert, I love going to live events. And now Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. The experience for searching and then buying the tickets on Game Time is simple. Plus, it's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive, and more. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it?
Game time.
Cubs rolled past the Phillies on Tuesday with a 10-4 win. Cubs got 6 runs in the second, 4 in the sixth, while Justin Steele went 4 innings on 62 pitches in his likely last game of the season. Cody Bellinger got 3 hits. Michael Busch and Seiya Suzuki left the game with injuries. And I had in my notes status unknown for the rest of the week, but it sounds like we have status known for at least one of them.
Cubs slugger and best hitter of the 2024 campaign, Seiya Suzuki, sprained his right ankle this evening.
Wow.
And I would guess that would probably end his year.
That'll be all.
I don't know the extent of it, but I don't know when that happened. Guessing running the bases on Bellinger's chop triple. The chopper over the first baseman's head. But, not great. And then I also think Seiya got whacked by a foul ball from Paredes in his own dugout. Paredes, not only is he slugging .307 as a Cub, but he's almost a hazard down the third base line with how much he aggressively pulls those
I would say he is a hazard.
Yeah, so Busch got hit. Hopefully, I mean, both those guys obviously not serious, but the Suzuki thing, just going by his pattern, I mean, this season, if he never hurt that oblique, what would his numbers have looked like? Because when he came back, he wasn't the same hitter for about a month. It took him a month to get back to where he was before that injury. So when you look at those injuries, it's just been a huge part of his Cubs career so far, 3 years in. But
it really has.
Nice win today. I still have a little hope for my 84 wins. Going to have to either win tomorrow and then take 2 out of 3 against Cincy, or lose tomorrow and sweep Cincy. But with Seiya now out and some other guys getting rest, I think it's going to be kind of, I don't really think Craig and the Cubs are too worried about the wins, nor should they be for the last 4 games.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're worried about a roster spot. Like, do they actually IL him and bring someone up for 4 games? I just don't know. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there wasn't much reporting. It just said out with a sprained ankle. I mean, sprained ankles vary so much. I mean, I've sprained ankles where I could play the next day. In basketball, I've sprained ankles where I can't move it for 2 weeks. That's a very broad term.
Again, we're not going to cover the series finale. Great Cubs organization, Cubs-related organization, Club 400. Stu McVicker up there in the northwest suburbs of Lake in the Hills is putting on a really exciting event this weekend for their 10-year anniversary. He's bringing home Sammy Sosa, and we had the opportunity to talk to Stu on Tuesday, which we will bring back for everybody Wednesday for Thursday. And we'll talk about that event and including our attendance, I do believe we'll have an update on as well. But we're excited to talk about this and quite frankly, meet Sammy Sosa on Saturday. So that's what we're going to do.
Sanchez v. Javier Assad tomorrow.
That's right. So that's what we're going to do Wednesday for Thursday. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube. Smash the like button for the algorithm and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.